Hello everyone, welcome back. I hope you're staying good. We have successfully completed the topic tense, and I wish you guys would never commit any errors when you speak or write. Do recollect the sentence structure every now and then. Today, we are going to see a new topic that is voice, active voice, and passive voice. This lesson will also help you construct the sentences with no errors. We'll see this lesson in detail today, but before getting into today's class, I want you guys to do a very simple activity. Take a rough notebook and your writing material. I'll be sharing a situation and few lines about what happened next in that given situation. You have to jot down few lines and complete that story. Okay, so it's time to write something interesting. Okay, so now let's get into the situation. So this is your situation. You're going to start like this. We took a field trip to a local museum, but my friends and I got left behind. We were stuck there for the night. The spookiest moment was when something happened and it is you who is going to complete that thing. So something very deadliest had happened, okay? Or you got scared at that moment, maybe by saying something or by experiencing something. So you're going to share that now. So get ready with your notebook and writing material and start writing. I'll be giving you a minute or two to complete this activity. So we'll be waiting for you guys. Start. Okay, fine. You have only one more minute. And I guess many would have completed by this time. You can write just 3 to 4 lines, enough. Okay, guys, time up. So, fine. You can just read your own imaginative story and enjoy it later, or even you can construct a lot in detail about what happened next. Okay, do try it and enjoy. Okay, guys, so we'll get into today's class. We are going to see the topic active voice and passive voice. Okay, Do you have any idea about what is active voice and passive voice? Okay, let me tell you. So there are some difference between active voice and passive voice. Okay, active voice is nothing but the 12 tenses what we have learnt. All that 12 structure comes under active voice. Okay, all the 12 sentence structure what we have learnt in tense come under active voice. Okay, so what is passive voice then? We have to bring certain changes in that sentence structure and we'll construct the passive voice. Both the sentences will actually give you the same meaning, but there will be a change in the form of verb. Okay, so the verb structure will be different in passive voice. So that is the difference. And why do we do that? Because in active voice, the subject performs the action. In passive voice, the subject does not perform the action. So in active voice, subject is the doer, and in passive voice, subject is not the doer. Okay. So when we want to give much importance to the subject, to the person who performed the action, we use active voice. When we want to give much importance only to the action and not to the doer, we use passive voice. Okay, we'll be so let's see the next slide. Voice. Voice is the form of a verb which shows whether the subject of the verb performs or receives the action. Okay, so voice is nothing but a form of verb which tells you whether the subject is the doer or receiver. Okay, whether the subject is performing the action or receiving the action. If it is performing, then it comes under active voice. If not, it is the passive voice. Now see the next thing. There are two types of voice. They are active voice and passive voice. Active voice and passive voice. So active voice means the 12 tense what we have learnt, the 12 sentence structure what we have learnt in tense come under active voice. Okay, in active voice the subject is the doer and we generally use active voice. Okay, we prefer using active voice in our communication. Okay, so when do we need to use passive voice? When we don't wish to mention the doer, or when we are not aware of who is the doer of that action, or when we want to give much importance only to the action. Okay, in these situations we use passive voice. See here, active voice is used to show that the subject of the sentence is performing the action. So we use active voice to tell that the subject is doing the action. See the examples. John threw the basketball before the buzzer. John shot the basketball from the free throw line. John scored 3 points. So all these actions are performed by John. So the subject is the doer. Okay. Now see the passive voice. Passive voice is used when the subject is the recipient of the action, receiver of the action. See the examples. The ball was thrown by John. The basket was shot by John. The score was made by John. So the subjects are not the doer here. The ball, the basket, the score. It is not performing that action. Okay? Clear? Yes. Now see here. We use passive voice when we do not know who has done the action. So when we are not aware about who did that action, we use passive voice. Or the action is more important than who did the action. If you want to give much importance to the action instead of the doer, okay? If you give much importance to action, we use passive voice. If you are not aware of the doer, or if you want to give much importance to the action, we use passive voice. See here, Rama helps Hari. See the passive voice for that. Hari is helped by Rama. Okay, so both the sentences are giving you the same meaning. Rama helps Hari. Hari is helped by Rama. Both the sentences are giving you the same meaning. Okay. So the verb helps is said to be in active voice because the subject Rama is performing the action. So if the subject is performing the action, then the verb is said to be in the active voice. Rama helps. So the action of helping is done by Rama. So helps come under active voice. See the next slide. In sentence 2, the form of the verb shows that something is done to the person denoted. So something is done to Hari. Okay. Hari is helped by. Hari is not performing. Something is done to that subject. Okay. Something is done to Hari. So is helped. So that verb comes under passive voice. So helps. The subject is performing. So it is active voice. Is helped. The subject is not performing that action. So that come under passive voice. See here, there are few points which we need to keep in mind for converting a sentence from active voice to passive voice. So, active voice, subject is the doer. In passive voice, subject is not the doer. And when we convert a sentence from active voice to passive voice, we have to change the position of the subject and the object. Okay, so the object of the verb in the active voice becomes the subject in the passive voice. The object of the verb in the active voice becomes the subject in the passive voice. Okay, so in a sentence, if you have only an object, we can construct passive voice. Okay, if there is no object, we cannot construct passive voice for that sentence. So object is very essential. Okay, so the object of the verb in the active voice becomes the subject. And the verb form, so in active voice we get V1 form of verb, V2 form of verb, V3 form of verb, or ing form of verb. But in passive voice, in all the tenses, there are actually 8 tenses in passive voice. We used to construct passive voice for 8 tenses. Okay, so for that 8 tenses, we use only the V3 form of verb. So the action word what is given in active voice should be changed into V3 form, past participle form. Okay, so whatever tense it may be, you have to change that into V3 form. Okay, and we use the word by to express the subject. So the subject will come after the word by in passive voice. And there is no passive voice for future continuous and all the perfect continuous tense. So for four tense, we don't have passive voice. There is no passive voice for all these four structures. Future continuous tense. If you get a question in future continuous tense, you don't have passive voice for that. And the same way for present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous, future perfect in mind. Okay. So subject is the doer in active voice. Subject is not the doer in passive voice. And when you convert from active to passive, you have to change the position of the subject and object. The object becomes the subject in passive voice, and the main action word should be changed into V3 form, past participle form, and after the word by, we place the subject. Okay, there is no passive voice for future continuous and all the perfect continuous tense. Now see the next thing. We are going to see the form of passive voice verbs. Okay, the passive voice will always consist of a form of the verb to be and the past participle. So in passive voice, if you notice the verb, we'll be having the be form of verb and then the V3 verb. Okay, be form of verb and then the V3 verb. See here, John baked the bread. The bread was baked by John. So the be form of verb. What is to be? Be form of verb. To be is nothing but the be form of verbs. Okay. So that was is referring that be form of verb. Okay. Then V3 form. So in passive voice, we'll have the be form of verbs and the past participle form of verb. Okay. Now see the next thing. To be forms. They are am, is, are, was, were, be, being, and been. These are the be form of verbs. Okay, am, is, are, was, were, be, being, and been. We use this am, is, are in present tense. Okay, and we use was or were in past tense, and we use the word be in simple future tense. Okay, then being, we use being in continuous tense, present continuous tense and past continuous tense, because for future continuous tense we don't have passive voice. Okay, and then we use been to construct the perfect tense. Okay, so these are the be form of verbs. Now see here, I have come out with some examples. Have a look at this. See here, Sita loves Savitri. So how can we convert this into passive voice? So we have to bring the object to the subject place. So Savitri, and the verb form should be changed. Okay, so in passive voice we have learnt that be form of verb and then the V3 form of verb should be used. So loves, that is in present tense, so we have to use the present form of helping verb. Savitri is actually the singular subject, so we have to use the singular form of helping verb. So Savitri is loved by Sita. See the next thing. The mason is building the wall. Okay, so now bring the object into the subject position. The wall is building. It is a continuous tense. So in continuous tense, what be form of helping verb you should use? Being. Okay, so the wall is being built, building. So building is the main action word, but in passive voice we have to use the V3 form of verb, so it should be changed into built. The wall is being built by the mason, so the subject should be introduced with the word by. Okay, now next, the peon opened the gate. The gate was opened by the peon. The gate, you have to bring the object into the subject, then opened, it is a past tense, it is in past tense, so we have to use the past form of helping verb. So the gate is the singular subject, so we have used was. The gate was opened by the peon. Okay. Some boys were helping the wounded man. Some boys were helping the wounded man. So this is in past continuous. We have to use the helping verb being when we construct in passive voice. The wounded man was being helped by some boys. In the question, some boys, plural subject, that's why were helping. But when you construct in passive voice, the wounded man becomes the subject. It is the singular subject. So we have to use according to that. We have to be very careful with the subject verb agreement. Okay, so singular subject means singular verb, plural subject means plural verb. Here singular subject, so here we have to use a singular helping verb. The wounded man was being helped by some boys. Now see here, in simple present tense your verb will be v1 or v1 plus es. See the example here, take or takes. So in passive voice this will be changed into am taken or is taken or are taken. So if the subject is I, am taken will be used. If the subject is singular, is will be used. If the subject is plural, are will be used. Okay. Now see present continuous. The question will be am taking or is taking or taking. Am is or plus v1 plus ing. This is the verb structure you will get in active voice. So if you get that, how will you change it into passive voice? You have to use the term being. Okay, in continuous tense you have to use the helping verb being. So am being taken, is being taken, are being taken. So you understood, right? Am should be used with I, is should be used with singular subject, and are should be used with plural subject. Then present perfect tense. If you get a question in present perfect tense, obviously the verb structure will be has or have plus v3. So see here, has taken or have taken. This is just an example using the word take. Okay. So how will you change? Has been taken, have been taken. Okay. Clear? For example, I have taken the book. The book has been taken by me. See, when I use I use the helping verb have because I have to use have with that subject. So I have taken the book. But when I convert, the book becomes the subject. So that is a singular subject. So according to that, I have to use the helping verb. Okay. So the book has been taken by me. Okay. So has been taken, have been taken. So we use been in the perfect tense. Now see for the past tense. So in simple past tense, you will get the verb V2. Okay, after the subject, you will get V2 form of verb. So how will you change that into passive voice? We use was or were plus V3. Singular subject will be using was, and with the plural subject will be using were. Okay, was taken or were taken. Okay, was or were plus v3 will be used. Now past continuous, was taking or were taking. This is the verb structure you will get in active voice. So continuous tense, what do we need to use? We have to use the helping verb being. Okay. So in present continuous also we have seen that. You remember being, we used the helping verb being. So was being taken, were being taken. Okay. Then in past perfect tense, you will get the verb structure had plus v3. Okay. So when you convert that into passive voice, it will be had been plus v3, had been taken. Okay, had been, we use been in perfect tense. Now see the future, we have only two structure. Okay, two tense, simple future and future perfect, because for future continuous and future perfect continuous we don't have passive voice. The same way present perfect continuous and past perfect continuous also we don't have passive voice. So see here, simple future. Okay, So what will be your verb structure? Will, take, will or shall plus V1. So how will you convert that? We use the helping verb be, right? Will be taken, shall be taken. For example, I'll take the book. The book will be taken by me. Okay, we use the helping verb be. Okay, in passive voice to construct the sentence in simple future. Okay, now future perfect, the verb structure will be will have taken. So perfect tense, what is the helping verb we have to add? Been. So will have been taken. For example, I will have taken the book. The book will have been taken by me. So that is the concept. Okay, so it is very simple. In continuous tense we are using the helping verb being. In perfect tense we are using the helping verb been. Okay, in simple present tense we are using am, is, or. In simple past tense we are using was or were, and in simple future we are using the word be. So we are using be form of verbs, then V3 form of verb. Okay, now let's see this. You have to label the sentences whether it is active or passive. Okay, Louis made the chocolate cake. Okay, so Louis made the chocolate cake. So the person is performing the action. So automatically this comes under active voice. The chocolate cake was made by Louis. So here the action was not performed by the subject. And do you notice that verb was made? Was made. So we have be form and V3. Then it is passive form of verb. So passive voice. The package was advertised by the travel agent. So notice the verb. It is was advertised. Okay, be form plus V3. Then it is passive voice, as well as the subject is not performing the action. The travel agent advertised the package. Here this is active voice. The chain was broken by my brother. Was broken. So obviously this is passive voice. My brother broke the chain on my bike. So the brother is performing the action. So then it is active voice. The pencil on the floor was broken by him. Was broken. See the verb structure? It is be form plus V3. Then obviously this is in passive voice. See the next one. He broke the pencil on the floor. Okay. So the subject is performing the action. Then it comes under active voice. Now see the next thing. She will not recognize us. So how can we change this? Recognized by her. Okay, she will not recognize us. So the word us, we cannot place that in the subject. So we have to change that objective pronoun into subjective pronoun. Okay, so we have to use we. Okay, we will not be recognized by her. Will recognize, it is in future. So in future tense, what is the helping verb we have to use? Be. So we have used be, and then the main action word should be changed into V3 form. So recognized. Okay, see the next thing. They didn't invite me, but I went anyway. Okay, they didn't invite me. So me is the object. So bring the object into the subject place. So me, you have to use the subject pronoun. That, what is the subjective pronoun for that? I. So I wasn't invited, but I went anyway. So didn't invite tells you that it is in simple past tense. You remember, in simple past tense we use the helping verb did. Okay, did is the hidden helping verb in simple, remember. So did tells you that it is in simple past tense. So we have to use the helping verb was or were, and here the subject is I. So we have used was. Next, they broke up the table for firewood. The table was broken up for firewood. They broke up the table. Okay, so we bring the sub object to the subject place. The table broke. It is in simple past tense. So if it is in simple past tense, then what is the structure? Was or were plus V3. The table. So one subject. So we have to use was. Okay, clear? The table was broken up. Then this book will change your life. This book will plus v1, so it is in simple future. Okay, then what is the helping verb we use here? Be. Yes, very good. Your life will be changed by this book. Okay, see the next one. She has won the first prize. Okay, has won. Has or have plus v3 comes under present perfect tense. Okay, so in perfect tense, what is the helping verb we use to construct in passive voice? Been. Okay, so the first prize has been won by her. Okay, now see the next thing. A friend of mine is repairing the car. A friend of mine is repairing the car. Is repairing. So it is in present continuous. Then what helping verb do we need to use? Being. Ing word. Okay. Being. The car is being repaired by a friend of mine. See the next one. The immigration officer questioned us, so we have to change that into subject, so we have to use the subjective pronoun we. We were because we plural subject, so we have to use were. Okay, see the verb in the question, it is questioned, so simple past tense. Okay, we were questioned by the immigration officer. They speak English in Nagaland. So English is spoken in Nagaland. They speak only V1 form. It means it is in simple present tense. In simple present tense, V form of verb, that is am, is, are. Here English is the subject, singular subject. So we have used is. Okay. Then the main action word should be changed into V3 form. So speak should be changed into spoken. English is spoken in Nagaland by them, or we can avoid that. Okay, in certain places we can avoid mentioning the subject. Okay, the doer. Okay, because it is understood. Okay, now see the next thing. His attitude shocked me. So what is the subjective pronoun for me? I. So I was shocked by his attitude. She had already sent the parcel. Had sent. Had plus V3, it means it is in past perfect tense. So for perfect tense, what is the helping verb we need to use? Been. Okay, so the parcel had already been sent by her. Now they will hire some people to do the job. So some people will be hired to do the job. Will hire. So it is in simple future. So we need to use the word be. Okay, will be hired. Now her silence worries me. Okay, her silence worries me. I'm worried about her silence. I'm worried about her silence. Worries. It is in simple present tense. Okay, so we have used am worried. Since the subject is I, we have used am. Okay, then we have changed the verb into V3 form. I'm worried about her silence. Okay, guys. Okay, so these are the points you need to keep in mind. I'll share this again. In active voice, subject is the doer. In passive voice, subject is not the doer. And the object of the verb in the active voice becomes the subject in the passive voice. And we use past participle form of verb. And we use by to express the subject. And there is no passive voice for future continuous tense and all the perfect continuous tense. and we have to be very careful with the subject verb agreement as well. Okay, I hope you guys are clear with today's topic. If you have any doubt, do watch it again and do practice it. You have your grammar books, I guess, so take your books and just go through the content. We'll see the rest in detail in the next class. We have few more topics to be covered in this lesson. We have to see how to convert the interrogative sentences, imperative sentences, or if the sentence has two objects, or if we have modal auxiliaries in the sentence. All these things we need to discuss later in the next class. So I'll be meeting you with that content in the next class. Until then, take care. Thank you.